Today we took a pretty good win on the gold market. I'm very happy with how this trade played out, and I'm going to show you guys exactly the start to finish how this trade went. Before we jump over to the charts, I'm going to show you guys the entries, the exits, the analysis behind the trade, and all of that sort of stuff. I do want to say that not every trade is a win. I post losses as well on my channel, and the goal of this channel is not to try and make it look like trading is easy or you make big money all the time. This is a good trade, and the point of showing this is to hopefully see if we can try and replicate that sort of idea or concept in the future. It's a good way for me to journal my own thoughts, my own journey as a trader. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump over to the charts and take a look at gold. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be breaking down a gold trade that I took inside of our private community. I'm going to talk to you guys start to finish and walk you through this trade and how I found the entry for it and how I rode the trade to profit. Now, I should say before I go into this video too far that I am like any other trader. I take losses and I take wins, and I've shared plenty of wins and losses on this channel. So please note that this is not an attempt to just show you that, oh, I'm always making money. I do take losses like everybody else. But today we're going to talk about a good winner that I took on gold, and hopefully we can re-engineer the kind of thought process that went into this trade and maybe look for duplicate sort of scenarios in the future. Now, this trade was actually mostly a technical setup. Now, if you know me as a trader, you know that I like to use fundamentals in combination with my technicals. I don't just trade technical analysis, although they are a major part of my trading strategy. I actually look to get short on gold. I'm gonna say mostly because of the technicals recently. From a brief fundamental standpoint, we did see some strength on the US dollar recently. We had some retail sales numbers that were actually short-term bullish, but my fundamental outlook on the dollar has been and still is short. The reason I talk about that is because we are talking about XAU USD. We're talking about the gold price versus the US dollar, and this is heavily impacted by inflation. You may know that gold is considered a hedge against inflation. So generally, my thought process long-term is actually bullish on gold. So today, talking about a short trade that I took, we're going to pull up this the chart here. We're going to take a look at gold and we're going to talk about the entry and exit. So let me go ahead and pull that up here on the screen. I'll drag this over. So this is our community inside of Discord. We share all sorts of different stuff. You can see the different analysts that we have inside of the team. We do webinars, there's chat rooms. We share trade ideas, all sorts of stuff for our private community. And this was one of the trades that I shared. So gold, I basically said I'm going short here, and this is the time that I was looking at the trade setup. I said I'm going short here on gold at around 1838. We've broken underneath the 200-day SMA, which I'm going to take a look at in a second with you guys. And as price retests as resistance, I think there's a decent risk to reward for a short sell. Keeping my position size small and my risk managed at a small loss should the price go against me here. So I was selling into a bit of strength that we had on the gold price for the day. And let's go ahead and look at that really quick on the screen here. So what we've got is we have the gold price. We were looking at it right around here. I started looking at gold right here. We saw this big dip, and this was the first time that I really was like, okay, we have not been short biased on gold in a long time. If you notice, and you've been watching my streams and my channel, you know I've been very net bullish on gold because we've just been rising in this whole market environment where, you know, people generally move to gold in times of fear. They are when markets are uncertain, gold is considered a good potential hedge against inflation. And for a while there, we saw a very bullish market. But actually, gold has had a very tough time coming into 2021. Again, all of this goes into the setup to my sort of trade. We have had a very tough year so far for gold, dropping all the way from over $2,000 to down to, you know, at one point here at the low of my trade, even around that 1770 mark. So the bias here has been, okay, we're in this kind of downtrend momentum, and I wanted to get short after we broke underneath for the first time this 200 daily moving average. You can see, you know, the last time we came down here, we briefly were under it, but for the most part, we shot back up and tried to go for another bullish rally. We failed, forming another lower high here in this downtrend, and this is where, okay, Now we're looking for bearish setups right around here because we've broken and closed pretty decisively underneath that 200-day. So that was my setup prior to going for the entry. Now, as we started to pull up, I dropped down to the 4-hour chart because my goal here was to sell into this strength in anticipation that this short-term strength would continue bearish underneath that 200-day moving average with my bearish bias short-term. Now, this again was a short-term trade because long-term, I'm very bullish on gold. I think, again, it is a hedge against inflation, and it's very possible that we continue to see, the US dollar go down. Like I said, bearish on the US dollar could lead to more bullishness for gold and for silver. So again, short-term trade here to the downside. So anyways, I end up getting short right around, well, actually, hold on. I'll pull up the screen so you guys can see where I got short. So I end up getting short right around here, around 1838. I look for my entry, and I end up getting short right at the retest of resistance here. So again, we see the rally going on, and I get short right around, we'll draw in the level, right around here. So let me actually redraw this a little bit cleaner. So here is the resistance zone that I was looking to get short in. Okay, so price comes up. We're rallying back from the lows there. And as we're rallying back to the lows, I decide, okay, now I want to go ahead and get short. So as we come up, you can see price rallies off the low. We come back up into this area, and this is where I'm looking to get short. Hopefully you can see why. There was multiple points here where price bounced off of this level and showed bullishness. But then once we broke underneath, you can see we struggled, and then we rolled over sharply. So my idea was, as we retest that area, I'm anticipating that price will act as supply, as this area of price will become a supply zone, right? As marked in red. So I end up getting short right around here. I was a bit early to the trade, admittedly. However, fortunately, my stop loss, like I said, I'll pull it back one more time, was, let's say, right around here. I think that's about right. Let me double check my view one more time. Yeah, that's pretty close, right? So my stop loss was roughly around here. My entry was around here. So this is the sort of trade setup that I had. I was risking, if price continued, my idea here underneath, above this trend line here that I had drawn in, if price generally moved higher above that, plus higher above my resistance zone, my risk was managed above there. So if price kept going, again, stopping out around here. So, and with that said, if it had gone up a little bit further, I may have just taken that stop and perhaps looked for another sign of weakness to try and get short again. That was kind of my plan. Anyways, I didn't have to enter for a second time because for the most part, this trade started to work out in my favor, although it did take a minute. And this is why it's really important to be patient with your trading. Sometimes a level won't work out immediately. For example, as price came in here, you can see if I got short right here, you can see it chopped around really for like 2 days before doing anything. Price was back and forth, and at this point, I thought we might get stopped out. Fortunately, price started to roll over, and if you actually know your general price action patterns, then you know that we have a little bit of a head and shoulders here. Right? We came up, formed a higher high, and then a lower high, and this is where things were looking pretty good on the bear side once we got this candle here. You can see we got a nice red candle there, breaking through that range, which was beautiful, and I believe I shouted out the idea here. Pull that back up. So I believe that, so we can see price basically was consolidating, nothing too much. I had another Aussie Swiss trade at the time, which trailed out for just a 1 hour trade there, and then so here's where we're at. Price breaks through that channel, and I mentioned that this was looking very, very bearish. So I said, update on my gold position. Gold finally starting to make the move I was looking for. We've broken out of the consolidation zone and officially look like we could be set to continue lower. If the trade plays out like I'm anticipating, I will continue to move stops to break even and possibly even into profit from here. So at this point, my stop loss is not yet moved, and we're looking at the price around right here, right? So now price is in my favor. I'm not going to rush to close out profit because my goal here is, again, to let this trade work for me if it wants to. I think a lot of times traders may struggle, and it's up to your trading style, how you want to trade. But for me, a very, very important component to my strategy is making sure that my winners become big winners if they want to, right? Letting the trade run. So at this point, my stop is still above structure, and I'm saying if price rolls over, then great, I will hold this trade. If price rallies, get me out for a small controlled loss. So that's where we're at with the trade. I anticipate that it's going to go lower, and fortunately, there's another New Zealand yen trade that very quickly was a nice profit there, fortunately. That one, just as a side note, was a crazy mover. New Zealand yen, I entered into like a flag sort of pattern setup and immediately saw that thing rally into profit. So that was definitely nice. But back to our gold position, another really, really good day of price action to the downside pushes us into profit. And this candle right here, as you can imagine, felt pretty good to watch, because my patience there had paid off. We'd broken through that consolidation zone to the downside here, and now we did it again, this time with a even more sell side action candle. And this candle was a great, great, great signal that price was likely headed down to, at very least, to the bottom of this range. And I had mentioned that on stream. If you guys were watching the streams, you know that I talked about, gold potentially heading back down to the lows there pretty decisively. In fact, we made it right down to the lows just briefly after. You can see we basically broke underneath, and that was pretty bearish to me as well. And at this point, I officially moved my stop loss up into profit. So that same stop loss that was up here initially, I went ahead and brought it down right around, I'm just being general, in this area. Now again, I marked my supply zone right around here. Or sorry, my demand zone. So as price came into this area, I wanted to see, is it going to bounce? If it bounces, I'm just going to take this profit, because at this point, it's a real nice profit. Then price rolls over further. And from here, check this out. The beauty of keeping an eye on these zones, price makes a break underneath. We rally off of this level, this big green level, which we'll take a look at in a second. We'll zoom out. But as price rebounds, we get the retest and price goes lower. Now, truth be told, I don't think I trailed my stop any further. Did I? I don't think I trailed my stop any further. And I wish that I had, because price basically came down, broke underneath this level, retested, and went lower. I probably should have locked in a bit more on the trade. And this is just, me criticizing myself. Like I said, not every one of my trades is perfect. But this is a scenario where I had a really great winner on the table. I didn't want to trail the stop too tight, but looking at it in hindsight, of course, you're going to have hindsight 20/20 vision. I would have liked to have just moved that stop just a bit more right above this structure point after we started to see price dip here. Unfortunately, I did not do that, but it's okay. We still took a really, really good trade here. Like I said, my biggest concern with this trade was this demand area here, which we can actually see worked. If you were a buyer of this market, if you caught this bull market rally here, then by all means, congratulations. I'm happy for you. And if you caught that, by the way, comment down below. Tell me if you caught 1770 on gold. That would have been awesome. I still, like I said, fundamentally am a bull on gold, so I was really cautious with my sell trade here. As soon as it was moving into profit, my goal was to try and trail stops tightly. And that is what I did. And fortunately, that is what I did, because you can see price did rally off the lows and I gave back some of the profit here. And that's okay, right? Part of my trading strategy is I know I'm not always going to catch the perfect extension of the move, right? It would have been nice to say in hindsight, oh, Nick, you should have shorted here, and then you could have covered there, right? And shoulda, coulda, woulda, but hindsight does not help us in real-time trading. As real traders, we have to be able to make decisions here and now. We can't look back on time and say, oh, well, I should have done this and I would have been making way more of this. That doesn't help us, right? What does help us is the current scenario and looking at the most objectively sound way to anticipate a move, as well as keep our risk managed as best as possible. So either ways, what ends up happening next, guys, is price comes down to this level. Like I said, it double bottoms there, kind of, right? It's kind of an ugly double bottom, but you can generally see if we draw that line That was a terrible line. A line there, right? You can see price comes down, tries to fake out lower, but then we get a lot of bullish pressure, and since then have been rallying. So I end up taking a profit. So that is where I got stopped out there for a gain. I know a lot of members inside of our premium community caught this same move as well. So if you did catch that move, you know, congratulations for sure. This was a really cool sell trade that really worked out and was, although it was a little bit of patience, I think that that's a good lesson sometimes. It's just, you know what, let the trade do its thing. If your analysis has not changed, there's no need to go drastically being impatient or anything like that. I waited on this trade. I know a lot of the other members and people inside of our community that caught this trade, they probably had to be patient too. So if you caught that move, congratulations. If you guys want to be a part of our community, there is a link down below in the description, and there's a promo code for you guys who are subscribed here on YouTube. You get access to the community for a discounted rate because you're supporting the channel. So thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful to you on my gold trade. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to like it down below. And again, come trade with us inside of the community. Give it a try for a month. See if you like it. And if, you know, if I'm right, I think pretty confidently that you will enjoy the community and you'll want to stick around and trade with us more in the future. We do live webinars. You can see my trades as well as the other trades being taken by our top analysts. And you can also chat with other like-minded traders who are not just about getting rich quick and all that nonsense. We are real traders. We're serious about this stuff. And if you want a community of people to be a part of, I would highly consider ours, and I would highly recommend considering ours, and we'll see you inside. Thanks so much, guys, for watching, and we will see you back in the next video. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like the video down below, because if you don't, you're statistically 84.72% more likely to blow an account in the next 48 hours. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, that's just facts. If you enjoyed that video and you want to see more free content here on YouTube, I'll be popping up some videos on the screen now. Go ahead and click anything that looks interesting to you, and thank you so much for supporting the channel.